Have you ever wondered how deep the rabbit hole goes when it comes to organized crime? It's a question that prompts intrigue, curiosity, and perhaps a little trepidation. Organized crime, a term that often conjures up images of shadowy figures operating in the underworld, is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that extends far beyond the public's perception. At its core, organized crime refers to any group having a formalized structure and whose primary objective is to obtain money through illegal activities. These groups maintain their position through the use of actual or threatened violence, corrupt public officials, graft, or extortion, and generally have a significant impact on the people in their areas of operation. Organized crime takes on many forms, each unique and distinct, yet all united by their illicit pursuits. There's the mafia, with its origins in Italy, known for its strict code of silence and deep-seated traditions. Then we have street gangs, often born out of socio-economic struggles, using violence and intimidation to control their territories. And let's not forget about cartels, powerful organizations involved in the production and distribution of narcotics, wielding immense power and influence. Yet, organized crime is not a recent phenomenon. It's a tale as old as time, intertwining with our history and shaping our societies. From the highway robbers of the Middle Ages to the pirates of the Seven Seas, from the opium dens of the East to the bootleggers of the Prohibition era, organized crime has always found a way to thrive, to adapt, and to evolve. It's a world unseen by many, hidden in the shadows, yet leaving a profound impact on our daily lives. It's a world that's often romanticized in popular culture, yet its reality is far from glamorous. It's a world that's ever-changing, yet always rooted in its pursuit of power and wealth. So how deep does the rabbit hole go? It's a journey that takes us through the underbelly of society, a journey that's both fascinating and chilling, a journey that uncovers the dark side of human ambition and desire. Dive with us into the underbelly of society as we unravel the history of organized crime. Organized crime, a term so frequently used, but do we know when it all started? The roots of organized crime trace back to the 18th and 19th centuries. It was a time when the world was rapidly evolving, and with it, so too was the world of crime. In the beginning, it was simple. Petty thefts, small bands of robbers, and pickpockets ruled the streets. But as society grew more complex, so did the criminal world. Criminals began to see the value in organization, in creating networks of thieves and smugglers, in establishing a hierarchy of power. It was the birth of a well-structured system, a system that allowed these criminals to operate on a larger scale and with greater efficiency. One of the earliest examples of this type of organized crime can be found in colonial India, with the infamous Thuggee cult. The Thuggees were a secret society of professional robbers and murderers. They operated for hundreds of years and were responsible for the deaths of thousands. The Thuggees were not just a group of criminals, they were an organization, a brotherhood. They had leaders, they had rules, and they had a system in place for recruiting new members. But what set them apart, what truly marked the birth of organized crime, was their longevity and their reach. They were not a fleeting group of bandits, here today and gone tomorrow. No, the Thuggees endured. They spread their influence across India and beyond, creating a network that spanned continents. This was the true birth of organized crime, a crime not committed by one individual, but by a network of individuals, all working together, all following a common goal. It was this shift, this evolution from simple crime to organized crime, that laid the foundation for the complex criminal networks we see today. And thus, the seeds of organized crime were sown, growing into an intricate network that would span continents. The Roaring Twenties weren't just about jazz and flappers. It was also the golden age of gangsters. A time when the United States, in a bid to curb the perceived moral decay, enacted the Volstead Act, or, as many know it, Prohibition. This law, designed to create a sober utopia, instead gave birth to an underworld empire. In the shadowy backrooms of speakeasies and the dimly lit corners of society, organized crime found fertile ground to flourish. The public's thirst for alcohol was unquenchable, and the gangsters were more than willing to quench it, for a price. The result? A booming black market that turned thugs into kingpins and gangsters into celebrities. Among the most infamous figures of this epoch was Al Capone, the notorious kingpin of Chicago. With a charm that belied his brutality, Capone ruled the Windy City with an iron fist, running a vast network of speakeasies, breweries, and distilleries. His empire was built on the public's defiance of prohibition, and at the height of his power, he was said to be untouchable. Parallelly, on the East Coast, arose another monumental figure, Lucky Luciano. Luciano, unlike his contemporaries, saw beyond the immediate spoils of prohibition. He envisioned a well-structured and efficient criminal organization, modeled after corporate America. His contribution to organized crime was not just about bootlegging. Luciano was instrumental in shaping the structure of modern organized crime with a focus on cooperation and business acumen. Yet the golden age of gangsters was not to last forever. As the 20s roared to a close, so too did prohibition, taking with it the easy profits of the bootlegging industry. But the legacy of this era was far from over. The networks established, the wealth accumulated, and the influence gained during these years would continue to shape the face of organized crime for decades to come. As the Jazz Age ended, organized crime had firmly planted its roots in society. The golden age of gangsters had set the stage for a darker, more pervasive underworld. When did organized crime cease to be a local problem and become a global concern? It's a question that takes us back to the aftermath of World War II, a period marked by socio-economic upheaval and political power shifts, creating fertile grounds for organized crime to flourish not just locally, but on a global scale. In the ashes of war-ravaged Europe, the Sicilian Mafia rose to prominence. They capitalized on the chaos, offering protection services to businesses and individuals in a society still reeling from the effects of war. But their aspirations didn't stop at the shores of Sicily. The Mafia saw an opportunity to extend their influence beyond Italy, and they seized it, establishing networks in the United States and across Europe, effectively globalizing their operations. At the same time, half a world away, Japan was experiencing its own domestic turmoil. The Yakuza, Japan's equivalent to the Mafia, expanded their operations, filling the void left by a weakened government. They established a firm grip on the nation's underworld, and like their Sicilian counterparts, they too looked beyond their borders, setting up operations in other Asian countries and beyond. Meanwhile, in South America, the seeds of what would become some of the world's most notorious drug cartels were being planted. The demand for illicit substances was on the rise globally, and South American crime syndicates were more than willing to supply. As their operations grew, so did their influence, reaching as far as North America and Europe. So, when did organized crime become a global concern? It's hard to pinpoint an exact moment, but it's clear that the post-World War II era played a significant role in this transition. The socio-economic instability of the time provided a perfect breeding ground for organized crime to expand and globalize. As globalization took hold, so did organized crime, weaving a web of influence across nations. The impact of this global spread is still felt today, shaping the underworld and leaving an indelible mark on societies worldwide. In the modern world, has organized crime evolved or merely changed its face? It's a question that draws us into the shadowy labyrinth of today's underworld. Organized crime is not a relic of the past, it's a grim reality of our present, having adapted and mutated to fit into the ever-changing landscape of society. Let's start with the drug trade, a cornerstone of organized crime. From the clandestine poppy fields of Afghanistan to the cocaine laboratories of South America, powerful cartels control vast narcotics empires. They orchestrate the production, transportation, and distribution of illicit substances, generating billions of dollars each year. But it's not just a matter of illegal drugs. Prescription drug trafficking has also become a lucrative business, exploiting the vulnerabilities of those ensnared in the grip of addiction. Beyond drugs, human trafficking is another grim facet of organized crime. This modern-day form of slavery sees innocent lives coerced into forced labor, sexual exploitation, and even organ harvesting. It's a global concern, with victims hailing from every corner of the world. Despite international efforts, the complex web of human trafficking continues to ensnare countless individuals, a testament to the dark ingenuity of organized crime. And then, there's cybercrime. The digital age has given birth to a new breed of criminals, ones who exploit technology to commit their heinous acts. From identity theft and financial fraud to the dark web's illicit marketplaces, organized crime has found a home in the virtual world. It's a chilling reminder that even in the face of progress, the underworld adapts and thrives. While the methods have evolved, the motivations remain the same: power, control, and wealth. Organized crime infiltrates every layer of society, from street corners to corporate boardrooms, and even the digital space. Its dark tendrils reach far and wide, a stark reminder of its enduring influence. While its methods may have changed, the dark shadow of organized crime continues to loom over society. Its presence, as pervasive as ever, is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the underworld. As we delve deeper into the dark world of organized crime, it's clear that we are not merely observers, but potential victims. The underworld's reach is vast, and its influence pervasive, making it a collective responsibility to fight against its shadowy tendrils. Governments, law enforcement agencies, and international organizations are continuously working to dismantle these criminal networks. Sophisticated surveillance techniques, stringent laws, and global cooperation are some of the tools in their arsenal. But the fight also extends to us, the individuals. By staying informed, reporting suspicious activities, and not becoming complicit in their operations, we can contribute to this global fight. For instance, not purchasing counterfeited goods disrupts their revenue streams, and being vigilant about our online activities helps prevent cybercrimes. It's a daunting task, but remember, every small action contributes to a larger impact. Organized crime, as we've seen, is an adaptable entity. It evolves, morphs, and seizes new opportunities. But so must we. As society advances, so must our strategies to combat this menace. In the end, the fight against organized crime is a fight for a safer, more just world. Will we rise to the challenge? The answer lies with us. So, as we conclude our journey into the underworld today, let's remember that knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay safe, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily content. Together, we can make a difference.